Hello, you're welcome. You're welcome onto my channel today, and it gives me great joy to observe you viewing this video. I am Dr. Olayinka Kole. I am a lecturer in the university. I am a public speaker. I'm a researcher. I'm a life coach. On this channel, I do a number of stuffs. I do sociology because I am a sociologist. I do research. I'm a researcher. I do relationship. I manage relationship. And I drop content on migration. So these contents I drop as regularly as possible to add values to my subscribers and my viewers. Meanwhile, if you have not subscribed to this channel, what are you waiting for? Kindly go ahead and subscribe to the channel as quickly as possible. You're going to benefit a lot by subscribing to this channel. If you have subscribed to this channel previously, thank you very much. Today, I want to drop this video on symbolic interactionism. Symbolic interactionism is one of the theories we consider in sociology. Symbolic interactionism is very important and is very relevant in an attempt to understand human behavior. It's also a part of micro theories. I dropped a video on micro and macro sociology. I've dropped videos on how best to understand theories. I've dropped videos on ethnomethodology. I've done video on phenomenology. I've done video on social action theory. So this is another theory within the confine of micro-sociology. Symbolic interactionism is part of interpretivist school of thought in terms of understanding human behavior. It adopts subjective perspective, subjective approach in understanding human action. Sociologists want to understand human action, generally speaking. So this theory, symbolic interactionism, is in the family of micro-sociology and micro-theories. These are theories that want to understand interpersonal relationship within smaller groups. So that we can subjectively understand human behavior. Well, symbolic interactionism is commonly associated with the works of George Herbert Mead. George Herbert Mead, is now regarded as the most prominent propounder of symbolic interactionism. Some may consider this theory as interactionism, but symbolic interactionism is the most popular way of referring to this theory because of this approach. I've seen a number of students struggle with this theory, but I think it's quite easy, which is why I want to break it down in a way you will understand. So actually, George Herbert Mead lived between 1863 and 1931. 1863 and 1931. So he lived in Chicago within this period of time. So, symbolic interactionism is just so straightforward for me, basically, maybe because at my level. But even when I was an undergraduate, I find the symbolic interactionism one of the easiest, theories I've had to engage with. So because, now, listen to this, and make sure you view this video to the end. You're going to do you enormous good. So, symbolic interactionism actually is a theory that wants to understand the nature of relationship, among people, through the study of language and symbols. Through the study of language and symbols. Symbolic interactionists, these are theorists who use symbolic interactionism, try to understand the role of language, the role of symbols in understanding human action, in understanding human behavior. We ask questions like, what are the dominant symbols in particular societies within a group of people? What are the dominant languages within a group of people? And how do people use these symbols and languages to create meanings that define their social interaction and their behavior? I believe people have rights to practice the religion they want to practice. So I want to use the example of Islam and Christianity for analytical purpose, whether you are Hinduist, you are Taoist, or you are traditional religion worshiper, it's not a problem to me. But for example, if you look at the Muslims, once you see Christians it's believed that the person is a Muslim. If you see a cross, you believe this is it's a symbol common to Christians. And you expect that once these symbols, or even mosque or church, once these symbols are demonstrated, people should act in a certain way. The same way when you say somebody is a Buddhist or practices Hinduism, you expect a way of behavior. And when you say somebody is a Muslim, you expect a certain way of behavior. And when somebody behave in a certain way, you say, oh wow, it's because it's there. Like I'm wearing a yellow glasses now and black shirt. Some people might interpret it and say, well, he's using black glasses because of this. He's having this lecture in a lecture room because he wants to talk about an academic or scholarly matter. You know, so when you go to the beach also, you think this is a beach. Okay, beach is synonymous with, you expect to see people wear bikini. So when you see people wear bikini, you know, in a beach, you don't raise an alarm because you believe this is a beach. Beach is synonymous with this. And people are expected to behave this way in a beach. Different from when it's in a church. Because church, the symbol of a church or a mosque or a temple to symbolize certain and certain things. So when you're thinking in that way, you're already thinking in symbolic interactionist perspective. Okay, it's just simple. So we look at how symbols and languages, and when people use some certain words, the way people would expect that you use some words, say, why do you talk that way? You are in a school, you are not in a brother, you are not in a club, in a nightclub. You expect people use certain languages, and we expect them to use this language in certain way. When you want to do a kind of, like I did the work or the video on ethnomethodology, when people communicate, the way they use their words, the way they use their languages, have very tremendous implications for how they behave. And this will affect their lived experiences. You know, the way people use symbols and languages to shape, to create meanings, to create patterns in their behaviors through their day-to-day lived experiences is what we call symbolic interactionism as a theory. So people, these shared languages and symbols create a lot of meanings and affect people's relationship. It determines how they relate. That's why the way people relate in the beach will be certainly different from how they relate in a church or in a mosque or in a temple, for example. And these theories enables us to explain in this manner. And that is why, you know, behaviors are formed through the use of language, the use of symbols, because symbols and languages are communicative. And the way people communicate reflects the way they act, reflect their inherent belief about behaviors. And these inherent beliefs originating from languages, from symbols, are very important to us as sociologists to be able to make sense out of people's behavior. Interesting. I love symbolic interactionism, you know. So communication affects how people interact and how people behave, and it affects how they see the world. This communication, this language, you know, gives people their identity, and their identity affects how they relate, because their identity will affect how they see themselves and how they relate, and it affects how they live the world. So, according to symbolic interactionism, we believe people are not victims. People are not victims of society or social creation or society. We believe people also affect society, and this is more profound through the way they interact on the account of symbols that they have created to control their shared meanings and the languages they speak. We believe the concept of the self motivates behavior. The concept of self. Who am I? So I will talk about concept of I and me later in this video. So stay tuned. So with the self-concept is very important. People define their self-consciousness, the concept of their self-identity based on the symbols that is very predominant in that. So the society and individuals relate in unique ways according to symbolic interactionism. So there's unique interaction among people and the society in which they relate. So let me tell you, there are three fundamental concepts that are very important three fundamental activities that are very important to symbolic interactionism as people develop their sense of self. You know, I mentioned self. Even you now, you are somebody. So you have the concept, you have the nature of self. So people create, there are three activities that lead to development of self. Number one is language. Like I've said, language is very important. Language you speak, even people bear names. In some cultures, names are very important. And names are communicated through language. So the language of people is very, affect their development of self. Another one is play. There's an activity we call play in symbolic interactionism. Play means the different roles that people play in society. And sometimes these roles are pretentious. From these roles, we have expectations of others, and others have expectations of us. So play here refers to different roles that people play in society. Are you a father? Are you a mother? Are you a child? I'll still drop a video on role. Role is a major concept and issue in sociology. I'll drop a video much later when I'm done with this theory. For now, I want to make videos on theories in sociology. So whenever I drop my return to videos of sociology, I'll continue with theory. So I've been dealing micro theories. I will still do macro theories. The macro theories are going to that. So after this symbolic interactionism I'm doing now, I will do another one, actor network theory. It's another very fantastic theory. So after that, when I return to sociology again, I will still do on macro theories. So the concept of play, I thought three activities that determine self, that led to self-development. I'm talking about language. Now this is play. Play means different roles that people play based on expectations they have of others and expectations of others for them. And sometimes people pretend, and that's not dramaturgy. People pretend so as to either be seen as conformist or a deviant in society. So different roles. Then there is what we call games. The concept of games, which allows individuals essentially to understand and adhere to rules of activities in society. Develop, is a concept, is a self-awareness. Games means, a process that allows individuals to act in certain ways based on understanding they have of the rules and adherence to rules of activities in society. So when people act in a game manner, it talks about development and allowance that people have. And this allowance enables them to understand and adhere to rules of behavior in their society. So let me move quickly to the concept of self. Self again. In symbolic interactionism, self is divided into two. We believe an individual is a self. And for an individual that you see, that individual is divided into two. The me part of the individual and the I part of the individual. So when you want to analyze the individual so that you can understand the society, we use the two analytical sides or faces of the self. So the me of an individual is a learned behavior, is a behavior that's been learned by individual through the process of socialization in that society. Is a socialized part of an individual, the learned behavior, the social aspect of the person. Then the I essentially talks about the present of the individual and the future of the individual, which sometimes is the self-identity and the consciousness of the individual. So the concept of the I and the me of an individual actually are constantly acting in the form of checks and balances. So because the way the individual is in terms of the I, which is the individual self-identity, which will determine the response of the individual to the me, which is the social self. So there is this constant conflict between the self, which is the individual personality or socialized, and the socialized part, which is the me. There's a constant conflict. The me will say, act this way because of the expectation of society. The I may say, this is who I am. I don't have to conform to the society. I don't want to allow the society. Sometimes the I can be instinctive, based on instinct, based on biology, based on self-awareness of the individual I. But the me is the social aspect that is socialized. So the me and the I, they have on the basis of checks and balances. There's another very important concept that is very central to symbolic interactionism. This is the concept of the looking glass self. The looking glass self is actually in the version of Sir Charles Orton Cooley. Charles Orton Cooley is another prominent propounder of a version of symbolic interactionism. Charles Orton Cooley introduced the concept of the looking glass self to the theory of symbolic interactionism, which means the looking glass self means how we think we appear to others, how people think others see them. That's why you talk about the concept of impression management. People want to create impression and manage impression based on how they think others see them. The looking glass self means it's a metaphor. That means the society then becoming a mirror. The significant others, other people in society become a mirror through which we see ourselves. That's why we have to be careful so that how we judge others, so that others don't wrongly perceive themselves. We don't talk down on others. So because people are judging their sense of self based on society as a mirror. Society, then means the collectivity of individuals. So the looking glass self means how individuals in society appear, how people in society think they appear to others. And this will affect how they behave in society. So there have been different criticisms about symbolic interactionism. People say it's too impressionistic, that it's not based on any research. It's based on simple perception of how we think society works. So people think it's too psychological rather than sociological because of the extensive attention to the analysis of the individual. Whereas sociologists study group, they say it's not sociological now. But we find it very useful in sociology because we believe through the understanding of individuals, we can understand the group and the society, and we can understand the implication of society for how individuals are made and behave. So we still believe it's sociological in a certain way, and it's micro, and it gives us more options to pick from when we are deploying theory in sociology. And I think it's very relevant. So welcome to Symbolic Interactionism. Have you enjoyed this video? Please give it a thumb raise, like it. Tell others, subscribe to this channel. More fantastic videos are coming on theories, sociological theories, and more in sociology. And I also do many other videos. Subscribe and tell others. Share widely. Until I see you in my next video. Bye for now.